Hey, 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 everybody. Trying to get onto my page real fast. So I am posted over to my other page. But this is Thursday Thunder, and it's me, Kelly. Yay. Oh, let me show it on comments. Let me post it over to my group real fast. Of course, it's trying to tell me other stuff. Okay. But yeah, there's been a lot of energy going on, people. Because I know a lot of you are going to come back and check in a little later. And like I said, you've got the Lionsgate energy coming in. And it's been knocking Ascension off the chain. Knocking Ascension off the chain. And then I also was told by my guides to look into other what are they? Other asteroids, and to get familiar with these other asteroids and their energies in our astrology, because it makes the plot thicken just a little bit more. Especially one called, and you may know it, Kelly, off of just being the gods and the goddesses and the demons and so forth by name. Nessus. Nessus. Anyway, this has a lot to do with ancestral healing, but it has to do with kind of like the curse that comes along with our lives and stuff. So I'm seeing from a deeper plotted energy that this is an energy we're going through. Yes, major energy, but this energy isn't going to be completely cleared through Pisces, the main one that I'm looking at, until 2030. So this has a lot to do with resetting our matrix and resetting where we're at. So just let you know, I'm going to be coming in with that and a little bit more of plot thickening as we move forward. But let's see. Also, I do have some specials going on, which I rarely ever talk about. I am doing spirit guide, helping you connect with your spirit guide. And I will be the first one to tell people you can find out what your spirit guide is, or your angels, or ancestral. There are so many different guides that we have. But a lot of people want to connect with the animal spirit guides. And first off, you don't choose your guide. Your guides choose you according to what is necessary. But when you start to become really in the spiritual realm and energy of things, you don't just learn that there's a guide there and hope that you're receiving their messages. As you start to truly connect with them or merge with them or work with them, there's a connection that's made. And some people don't know how to do that. So I'm working on actually helping connect you with your guides. This is, like I said, it's actually more of a spiritual energy, connecting the merge so that you can really truly be one, and helping you all work together. As well as I'm doing some work in soul sounding and soul word. And that's something I learned through my shamanic work. And this is, every soul has a sound. Sometimes these sounds sound like a word, or it is a vibrational tone, or like music note. And that is to help you get connected deeper with your actual soul connection. But then within the blueprint, I also have like cleaning or clearing soul notes that each person has according to their astrology. And then sometimes when we do shamanic journeying, we'll also find soul words. Like one of my mother's is, my mother has a specific Christmas song, and it's just 3 words in that Christmas song. She always starts singing it around Halloween. And it took a long time for us to realize that was her words. Those words come in specifically when you're doing them through shamanic words to help calm the spirit, help the spirit make it through the energy where the ego is just like making you bounce off the wall. So I am working on shamanic soul sounds and words that will help the actual body, your human, relax and be able to work through these energies so much better, along with my other sales. With that being said, the very first thing I have out in the cards today is Osiris. And here in this specific deck, it speaks to us about responsibility and commitment. But Osiris is also the king of, in a form, he's the king of the dead, but not. He is the underworld. He is, the way I like to think of him is when we hear the story of Egyptian mythology, and when you die, the heart is weighed against a feather. Well, Osiris is the one that you're going to be dealing with when your heart is getting weighed against the feather. He's the one that's helping you either move on to your afterlife, your next life, or the one who's making you more or less continue right on with learning the same old lesson again, and you're not getting into what would be considered Egyptian heaven. He is a god of the dead in this form, a god of the underworld. So this is our underworld that we're working through. It is the commitment and the responsibility it takes within us to get ourselves to the next place, next goal, next dream, next part of our life. Now I'm sure, flat out, Kelly's got something to say about that.
So, Andy, to address your question, we'll be cooking up Bob maybe in the fall when it gets cooler. It's too damn hot to be outside and trying to do shit. I mean, I miss that too. I miss doing that for you guys, and I know she does too, but it's entirely too hot to be hanging outside and trying to do that shit.
It's like did the earth bump into the sun?
Right. But as for Osiris speaks of rebirth. He speaks of reconstitution. Osiris was ripped apart by his brother Set in contention for all of Egypt, because one ruled Upper Egypt, the other ruled Lower Egypt, and it got to be a struggle. It got to be a fight. He was destroyed, and he was put together by the mother of magic herself, Isis or Aset. And there was just that whole debacle there. But he does speak to rebirth. He speaks to really just getting torn down and being rebuilt, but with help, with that magical touch, whether that's a feminine magical touch or not. It's still something where we need assistance to really ascend and renew ourselves. So Osiris, I think, is a good card to start with for this reading. And then we have, this is a weird deck. I probably won't use it again. So this is says the how is the now. I don't fucking know. I got it for the imagery, so I'll probably just keep to it with that.
That's a pretty picture.
Yeah, I mean, the cards are pretty, but the words on it are fucking stupid. So basically, the how is the now. She's got that glowing aura behind her. She has that sun, so radiance, again, rejuvenation, because we should be kind of basking in the healing of the sun. Apollo, as we know, the sun god, is a great healer, all that jazz. But overall, it's about tapping into that intuition. What is the divine link telling you? And what are you not really paying attention to at the moment?
Alrighty, when I was shuffling, 2 cards came out. But it was very clear that the card I was meant to pull versus the one the universe gave as an additional here is the 3 of Pentacles. So this is about taking pride in what you're changing, taking pride in doing a good job, and making the process start to be a process, moving forward, building a new situation, building strength, grounding, and building a new foundation. It is Mars energy taking action with Capricorn, grounding that castle, building that castle, making sure that it's something that's real. But what universe threw out with it is Queen of Swords. So just as they say with Queen of Swords, off with their head. This is not a time to be, I want them to still be with me. If they're not meant to be with you, it's time for them to not. This means with the off with their head, it's pretty simple. It's you're cleansing the energy. You're getting rid of that that's not supporting you. You're finding your true troop. Your true tribe, and you're rebuilding. And if it's false, then cut the cord. Cut that cord, because it's going to keep you from getting to that foundational purpose of where you're trying to build. Don't fool yourself with enabling a situation and giving somebody credit when they don't deserve it. If they don't deserve it, they don't deserve it. It's that simple. If they don't deserve you, or if they're not valuing you, don't try to pretend that they are.
So to tie in really close to that, we have Selkie. So Selkies are, in some lores, they're almost along the lines of sirens, but they don't just lure you to your death. They're a changeling in a sense where they can take on a human form. But as you saw her holding a seal, traditionally they're water life, primarily seals, manatees, things like that. So like big lumps in the water. But they are spirits of vengeance. They are things that take revenge and prey on humans that have done wrong. So Selkie energy is telling you, go get yours. If somebody's wronged you, you need to correct that wrong. Call their ass out, do what you need to do, but you do need to put them in their place before they go and begin to either A, do it again because you're going to let it slide, or B, do it to somebody else because they know they can just steadily get away with it through each person. So Selkie energy telling you to come in clutch and put people in their place.
Now I'm Malphysis. You would know.
Malphus.
Mm-hmm. When I use these cards, I look at the idea of what they're giving us and the way of where you're letting your ego get in your way. Because the demonic energies don't necessarily tell you a lie. They tell you the truth. But they also will sway you in the energy of, well, if you'll screw yourself over, well, then that's your own damn fault. And when I use this deck, that's the way I see this. So I'm seeing this as the way it's explained with this card. It's building a house and the high towers. It is destroys your enemies through the desires of all that they have built. So this is the way I see it is being a little bit jealous. Being a little bit jealous of others and allowing your brain and your mind to get away with you and more or less not just tear them down, but you're tearing yourself down. You're tearing the situation down. You're getting into your own negatives and you're building it against yourself. This is, but he also brings good familiars. And familiars in the witch's term is something that would help you. So in a form, he's showing you where you're screwing yourself over. If you're allowing yourself to fall for that. It's build your tower. Pay attention to what's going on in your tower, not everybody else's or somebody that's higher than you. If that's the situation, you're playing that jealous game, which is actually just going to lower your vibration. And if you are having new familiars come in, there's a reason. I always tell people you'd be surprised how often the spiritual realm will turn into the three-dimensional realm. And I'm like, if I don't know, if you were supposed to have a monkey as your guide and, you got some mail, like actual physical mail, not an email. And it has, well, it could be an email. It has like monkeys on it. And then you're driving down the road, a bus goes by you with monkeys on it. And then you're going into the store the very next day, and look, there's a picture of a monkey. The three-dimensional world is trying to connect you. And this is what he's saying is there's things everywhere to help you, to see what is good for you as well as what is bad. But are you really getting and paying attention? And how are you using the information that we give you? You have anything else to say?
Normally when the Infernal bring familiars forth, they're a temporary fix to get what you need, because they don't really feel the need to dole out punishments themselves. So they bring the next best thing, which is, you know, Demon Bob over here from one of their legions to kind of go through and go forth. But it will take on whatever form kind of makes you pay attention that, hey, they're there to do their job, and then they're going to bounce out. So keep that in mind too when you go into working with the Infernal. Familiars from them are just very temporary. They're there to do their job. Like the fuck Mr. Meeseeks from Rick and Morty, if anybody knows what I'm talking about. Like that's just what they do. They fulfill their goal, and they're like, all right, I'm done.
Like, peace out.
Yep. So we do have Catwoman coming in. Catwoman, she's super sultry, super seductive. But you know, she's there to manipulate for her own well-being. She's there to manipulate for really reasons of her own justice. So almost a little bit of justice mixed with temperance. If we're familiar with the arcanas, it's about really finding that balance, maybe skewing the scales just a little bit in our favor to get what we need. But overall, really just seeking out what's right for everybody. So again, another card to call out people. You know, now's the time to do it. Stop letting people take advantage. Stop letting the animosities back build to the point where you're just ready to snap, because it shouldn't have come to all of that.
And she's right. It shouldn't have come to all of that. But unfortunately, for so many people on the planet, they're just now getting to where they're remotely starting to wake up. And the only reason they are is because it has come to that. And unfortunately, this is us learning to take our power back, but not in a way of take your power back and then land in jail because you did something that will get you ultimately your power stripped. Ultimately, it's about learning how to say no, be the warrior, and find a way to still create peace, but without letting yourself down. This is a major turning point in our world. And the reason I went into all of that is because this is from my little deck. This is written in Hebrew stuff, which is the Yod. The Yod in Hebrew and the Hebrew alphabet is actually like a comma. It's like the smallest little thing of the alphabet, but it's the most mightiest. It speaks to us of creation, of the ability of creation. It is the infinite point of the creation. So it's like the consciousness becoming aware. It's the moment the consciousness opened up its eyes and is like, the creation of the shift of everything. And this is speaking to you about, you know, the trust in the reaction, trust in the action and the reaction. Follow your gut. Know what you're supposed to do. You're seeing it. But like I said, I've said several times, sometimes as we move forward, you are shaking in your boots because you do doubt it. You're not fully believing yet. But this is that fake it until you make it. Start believing it. You've got to have that infinite point of no return where you turn it on and you start moving forward. Just like any medium will tell you, or any medium who had to learn to grow into that energy, who eventually had to start trusting in their guides, trusting in the situation, and going, you know what, I might sound a little bit crazy, but I believe it, and now it's time for me to start talking to you. you have to get to that point where you believe in the situation, you believe in yourself enough to stand by yourself and do it. And this is what that is. It's that moment of that shift.
So we have Atalanta. So she is the runner in Greek mythology. She's known for like the foot race myth and things like that. Getting a lot of chariot energy with her because there's constant motion, there's constant fluidity, wanting to keep going, wanting to gain ground, gain momentum. That's what this year should have been about, but there's still time to make up ground if we take advantage now, and really move forward to progress before really December. Again, a lot of us should have already been moving forward, really hopping and leaping forward, but shit happens and we all trip up. Carried energy also speaks to gaining experience for the other pathway that we didn't take, gaining it and coming around to realization of, oh, I didn't miss out. I just needed XYZ to get to this end goal here. So it's about reaching that thing that we feel that was out of reach to begin with. So always keep that in mind. Just because you're going forward in a different path and you keep peeking over your shoulder like, oh shit, well, that looked a lot better than the road I'm going on now. We're gaining experience. We're gaining elevation. We're gaining whatever guidance to come around to that path.
What I got was the 7th house. This is also from one of the decks I made. And the 7th house is the relationship zone. But I was like, where do you want me to take this relationship zone? And they gave me the 2nd house. So this is the relationship you're having with yourself. Being honest with yourself. Being, honest with yourself, diving deep. The 2nd house is your money house. It is your house of self-worth, self-value, self-esteem. It is the manifestation of your vibration. And within the manifestation of that vibration, whether you're in your power or you're in your denial, has a lot to do with where your life is going. So they're asking you to take it back to the 7th house and create a stronger relationship with yourself. An honest, true, depth, full scale relationship with yourself. Don't look outside of yourself, look inside. We've heard this a million times, but you will have mirrors of things happening in your life that will help you understand the different depths of your own self and where maybe you're being too critical, or maybe you're not being critical enough, where you're in denial versus, allowing allowing the knowledge to destroy you. There needs to be a balance between that ego and soul. You're never going to get rid of ego. You'll have ego deaths, but that's part of the balance of soulfulness. And while you're here, you have to be able to balance that. So this is about truly not just accepting, but learning how to accept so you can come back around to love, for loving yourself. And then it will help your vibration come up. It will help your vibration come up. It'll help your depths of self come up. It'll help your integrity come up. There's so much here that for you to work on that is never ending.
So we have Isis or Aset coming in, which she followed right behind her husband. A little late, but she's still there. So Isis, like I said before, the mother of magic, the great mourner, as well as being a mother. She is mother to one of the war god, well, two of the war gods actually, Sobek, technically three, I guess. Sobek, Horus, and of course, Weep Away the White Jackal that sometimes Anubis gets mistaken for. But we all know Horus, the grand hero, another falcon god, because God knows there's like 80 million in Egyptian mythology. But also Sobek, devourer of those unworthy to bathe in the Nile and whatnot. But above all, too, she is a great mourner. She put her husband back together, save for his little peepee. She had to reconstruct his peepee, but other than that, everything else came out in the wash. But it's one of those where she's on a journey. She's also the mother of magic. She's the mother of secrets, unveiling secrets just as well as keeping her own secrets. She gave false names to earn the names of others to control them. So overall, she is a little bit of a dominatrix. She has dominion over gods that she shouldn't because she found out their names. She really persevered to find and research these things to gain what she has now. So I think that speaks volumes of what we should be doing. Not necessarily like gain domain over people to control them, but manipulate the situation for our own protection and for the protection of our own families, our own communities, all that stuff. So that's something very deep to come through from her, considering all she's been through and all her family's been through. So just something a little deep that I didn't really expect.
I love that. That I didn't really expect. You were like,
Yeah.
but I mean, that says a lot in general, because it's not like Kelly was saying about just manipulating people, but it's about manipulating the situation to work for you. Don't be screwed over just because, well, somebody told you you're going to be screwed over, and you're like, yeah, okay. And yes, sir. Thank you. I'll take more of it. And the reason I say it that way is because addiction is what's coming up in this card. And if you look at this picture, I mean, there's multiple knives in the back. Person has no dignity left. Their head is just down. And more importantly, there's not just the knives in the back, just been stabbed in the back so much that they accept it. But there's a chain around his neck. He is now a prisoner. He is now a slave. He is now going to be dragged into whatever the world he's being dragged into, and he'll just take it. This is why I was saying what Kelly was saying makes a lot of sense. Use that manipulation to not become this. While we've been asleep, we've been this. While we were following what society and all the crap that the society and the governments have pushed out at us and told us how we have to live, that's more or less what you've been. This is about removing these. This is about, taking the chain off. This is about standing strong back in our power. And if you have to be smart enough to manipulate the situation to work for you, do it. Don't feel bad about it. Just doesn't mean for you to go out and screw others over because you can.
And that lies in the key word right there, just because you can. That card also gives off a little bit of Ten of Swords energy of just slow down, rest. If you're one of those, you got to be busy, you're a workaholic or whatever, that's still an addiction in some cases. Even if you can help it or not, most cases you can't. But you got to just keep pushing forward. You got to keep forcing yourself to move forward. It's a warning that you will crash and burn. So that's kind of a dual-ended card in that sense. So be very, very cautious. Then we have, I'm going to butcher this, Trio 10. So she is a rebel warrior. She speaks to really going against the norm, going against everything that really has affected your community, has wronged your family, friends, all that stuff. Still kind of being almost a hermit, or maybe being the star in some cases, if we're talking about major arcana, of just pushing forward, persevering as best we can to help others, to guide them. So not sitting there taking them and dragging them forward, but kind of being that guiding light, because we've been in those shitty situations. And it's about maybe alleviating and lighting up a path that we didn't have at the time, but we know now, to help guide others a little more smoothly through their situations. So again, it's not to wade back into things that make us feel like shit. We're not trying to rub our nose in things that have happened, but it's about just helping others out as best we can.
What I'm getting now is Queen of Shadows. I could never pronounce her name.
Yeah.
And like I was saying, one of your ultimate powers is befriending your shadow, is befriending the ego, knowing when the ego is serving a purpose and telling you about yourself versus ultimately becoming destructive. And this is a very fine line. And she is speaking to you about wrath, about your wrath, about your instability and suspicion. She is speaking to you about your fear, your doubt, your anxiety over everybody and everything else that's going on outside of you. And it may very well be true. There may be something to fear. There may be suspicion of different people that would do you dirty. I'm not saying that that's not the case, but what I'm saying is she gives you the power to strengthen that shadow, to strengthen that energy that's getting into that vindictive energy of where you want to react. She's giving you the power to act right if you want to use it. Like I said, our demonic and our darker sides aren't necessarily always bad. They just show us our bad parts, so to speak, if we'll allow ourselves to just lose our shit in it versus can we make right with ourselves and honor ourselves and love ourselves as a whole. So in a form, while she's speaking to you about that universal 12th house of what I was saying, that ancestral healing that's been here and going to be here until 2030. This is like doom energy, like cursed energy, that's smack dab right in the middle between Pisces and Saturn and Neptune right now. And it moves incredibly slow. And it's bringing up lifetimes of you did the same shit over and over and over and over and over again and didn't heal. You did, your ancestors did, da 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 da. This is the darker pieces of what we have to get right, of what we have to heal, what we have to see, what we have to learn. This is a valuable piece, but what do we do with that? Again, you can be vindictive as fuck just because you want to be, but is that really the situation?
So again, another card that kind of resonates with that. We have Lagerta. So Lagerta in Norse mythology was a Viking warrior that led fleet after fleet after fleet after fleet of ships, just conquering territories. Bitch was undefeated, basically. She came back home and she was rewarded with all these great things. And because she didn't want to share it, she murdered her husband just because. So that's speaking to deception of those that are close to us. Be very cautious with what we share with others, especially in terms of power. So almost writing right off that Isis card from earlier. Be very careful of who has dominion over you because they can really fuck your shit up. But it's a two-way street. You can do the same to somebody. Like she said, you can sit there and be vindictive. You can be cutthroat. But is it worth it? Like, what is it going to speak to your character? Like, how are you going to sit there and function after you did something like that to somebody else? So exceed with extreme caution.
And not just in that level, extreme caution proceed. I mean, but it's coming out all over the astrology and everything. I mean, not everybody is on your side. No. And a lot that are really close to you, especially, are not on your side. They just want to know what you're up to, so that they know how to play you.
Yeah, they're looking out for number one at the end of the day.
So they're playing the part of being there until it gets in their way. And you better start realizing which people they are. Along with that comes, this is Mercury in the mind. But come on, this is the green tablet of Thoth. And this is about using your mind in the higher perception. Using it because your mind is the connection to everything. Your mind and that connection in, it's not just connecting to the hive mind or to your own main frame. This is where the magic is. what you think, what you act, how you say, what you bring into reality. Like I said, it's not just a spell when you speak it, it's an actual vibrational frequency. You are given the voice box and so forth to vibrate a sound. It is a calling card. The mind is what's happening before the calling card sends out that vibration. How and what are you doing with your mind? Are you are you connecting it with things that are helping you ascend and grow? Or are you not connecting it and you're just in that, like I said, that vindictive lower vibrational energy? And that's all I can say because I'm being knocked out with sound myself. Sorry.
So we have the Hangman here. So the Hangman, a card a little close to my heart. Speaking with Odin energy, sacrifice for knowledge, but also too being flexible, almost giving Berkana energy for the runes of being flexible and being able to kind of take the blows that we have. But the Hangman also too with the motion of being on the tree of life, he sits there and sways with the branches, whichever way they carry, and he listens and he feels and he senses. So it's a very deep card when we look at it that way, of just being able to accept what's there while we are technically stilled, but at the same time moving. So it's a very beautiful symbology.
I am getting. I have my head back, please. They are really right now, spirit in general, really right now is just picking at my octable lobe, which is what I say often when I speak to everybody about the zeal point. Because as I was doing the last bit when I was speaking, and I had to stop because it was getting too high vibrational, they were knocking at my octable lobe and they're causing pain in it, which I often speak about. This does deal with the throat chakra, but it's dealing with what your brain is perceiving and how you're taking on the world and viewing it and your perception. And what they're really getting at is sending vibrations from a lot of a lower vibration, because a lot of what we've been talking about tonight is, people that are out to get each other, people that are out to get ahead by putting somebody else down, situations along that line. And yes, we're seeing that, but this is going to also add more of a discomfort and like a psychic attack with an energy is what they're giving me. And what they flat out said, because they had me go to this card, is connect with the gratitude. Don't harp on that's going to lower the vibration for the rest of the week. Don't harp on the things that you get that are negative. Learn them, yes, acknowledge them, but if you're harping on them, it is going to cause a lot more tension and a lot more pain and a lot more negativity. Learn what you have to learn, but get off of that subject. Stay in the gratitude, because that is going to keep that psychic attack and those lower vibrations and that from happening and making things much worse. Stay paying attention to, don't get distracted with what you're hearing and so forth from keeping you from your goals, because there are going to be things that are triggering you away from them. And right now, the gratitude and what is good for you is the most important. Stay with that, because the other is going to knock you down and you don't need that.
Okay, so we have Eight of Wands in reverse, which is speaking to slow the fuck down. Eight of Wands is about communication. It's about passions or sensuality and things like that. But at the same time, it's fluidity and motion when dealing with this particular fire energy. So it's about slow down before we trip ourselves up. We all know 10 of Wands is being over encumbered and things like that. So with Eight of Wands being in reverse, it's letting us know we need to hit that hiccup for a necessary reason, so we don't wind up with that 10 of Wands moment of just being overburdened with shit that 9 times out of 10 it isn't our business. It has nothing to do with us, but we got to just stick our ass and stuff that doesn't belong.
Also, what I'm getting is workaholic.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, that goes along with what Kelly was saying, slow down. And I said that in the beginning of this week, slow your roll, people. I'm like, slow down. There's so much going on. You don't fully know all of the subjects. You're not getting all of the information. There's pieces that you're still gathering. And a workaholic doesn't necessarily have to mean work. It can mean work. I mean, some people, that's just what their whole life's about, workaholic, work, 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 or maybe 2-3 jobs. I mean, but this is also like in the same as I'll say it a million times, you know, I take care of my mom and I have my job and I have my business. I mean, workaholic can be over extending yourself in so many different other ways. This is a time because, again, this is speaking with also your throat chakra. This is, if you're not getting that pampering, you're not getting that you time, and you're extended so far that you're feeling like you're being ripped apart, then this is going to start to create additional problems that you didn't necessarily mean to blurt out that way. Like I always say with Mercury retrograde, I'm like, that's a word vomit time. You've got a lot of planets in retrograde right now. Plus, you've got all this higher ascension. This is time not just to love yourself, but to pamper yourself, to give yourself some credit. Slow down. You cannot take on the world without ever taking a nap or rest or break. Because I'm emotionally drained. Oh, well, let me do it.
Oh my god.
Oh, I didn't mean to do that. Well, I was gonna just erase it, but whatever. But this is exactly what I'm talking about. You see this person right here? This is the exact people that we are talking about when we are saying, you know, the people who are scammers who are coming on, and we're doing readings that you need to jump on and tell me to come to you. I can't make it go away. I can't make it go away. But anyway, I'll throw that out there again. This is the exact thing. You know how many times we have people who have these shows, and you have the ones that in the background that are trying to be like, message me, message me. These are the exact people that we're talking about. Stay away from. If they really were on top of their shit, they wouldn't need to come on our show and do stuff like this. So, you know, good for you. Good for you for showing your ass a little more.
Right,
And so just laughs at me for not knowing how to fix it.
my god. So we have King of Wands. So King of Wands energy is basically, it's a little bit of restlessness because he is a king. He's a quite dutiful king. Oh my god, bells.
I'm sorry.
He's the dutiful king. It's ambition, it's cunning. Yeah, everything fire energy is, which we should appreciate about fire energy. However, it's communication with the higher self because he is the king. He's the king for a reason. So it's about really figuring out what all we're kind of missing, and what all we should really be honestly preparing for the next month, which is like what, like a week away ish, barely. So just exceed with caution, but really open yourself up to the signs that y'all have been getting, and you kind of been like sitting there with your thumb up your ass for a little bit.
From a sacred geometry deck, Together comes out. Literally what this one is called, together. And in this specific card, it's telling you more or less, stop with the bullshit. Balance your relationships at hand quickly. Stop fucking around. And either balance your relationships with yourself and with others quickly. Get to the point of the matter. Get to your wholeness. Get to your oneness. Get to this sacred energy. Stop playing this bullshit. Because all you're doing is running yourself in circles with denial, lies, and excuses, more or less. And that's really what I'm feeling from this card. I'm not feeling anger, but I'm feeling like, is what I'm feeling. Like, stop it. So that's what I gave you.
So when I was shuffling, I actually had 2 cards come out. So we have the moon, which the moon is transformation. It's, hitting those pinpointed goals that are set ahead of us. But then I got 5 of Pentacles, which is not the kindest pentacle in the deck. 5 of Pentacles speaks to really just having that lull, having that drain. Be careful of our resources, especially our health, wealth, time, all that shit. Time and energy, especially. Watch who you're wasting time on. Watch who you're wasting time with. Because they're getting that draw from you, and you're not really even realizing it yet. So while they're going through their shifts, going through their motions and progressions, we're over here just still kind of like, and not really noticing what the fuck's going on. They've kind of sit there and used us for a stepping stool. They've done it before. They're going to continue to do it because, like I said, the moon is all about cycles, and the moon cycles back around each time. So just be careful. Maybe begin to consider cutting those ties with people that have been using us as said stepping stool.
I mean, and she's being nice. I'm over nice. I mean, I'm sorry, but I'm over nice. She's being nice in the sense of, how many times can you be told to cut the cords? How many times? Obviously a shit ton, but that's where we're at. We're at the point of, we can't keep dragging a dead bull across a line that they don't want to come. It's like a horse. You can only take them to water, but you cannot make them drink. If you want to move forward, you want to make the changes, you know already the people that are not good for you, the situations and the places and the things that you are a part of. But it's up to you ultimately to make that sacrifice. And I'm agreeing with her, but I'm also saying it because you're getting what I just said was together. Get it together is basically what they were giving me. And what I'm getting is the Chariot. Now, when you connect that with Hebrew, because I do a lot of my tarot with Hebrew, and that's the Chet with Hebrew. And it is ultimately like the fenced in area, that is protected, like around the tabernacle. For the actual sanctuary of what you would think of when you think of it from that perspective, from the biblical perspective. This is the sacred that is within you, and it is touching and hovering over you, meaning your spirit essence is already with you. It is already here. It's just, are you hearing it? Are you connecting? Are you touching it? Are you becoming one with it? Or are you outside of the fence? This is the Chariot, which is plowing down right now. It's not just running forward. This sucker is plowing. And you can be on that chariot or you could be left behind. It's really that simple.
So seems like now that we're winding down for the evening, all the major arcana want to come out. Because now we have the Devil in reverse, which is reminding us to be a little cautious. Watch out for those that want to keep us underfoot, want to keep us chained down. The devil is a great liberator. So it's about really busting those chains loose and letting go. going forward, running away if we have to, with the Chariot being the predecessor. So just keep in mind, again, watch out for those that do not have our best interest at heart. We said it last week. We said it time and time again before. So, I mean, what the hell?
I'm fighting with my cards over here. They're making me switch decks because I'm fighting with them. Because I'm not giving you like 5 cards. I'm not doing a whole card reading here. Thank you. The Ace of Wands. But it's coming with the Lovers upside down. This is about being in your fire, being ready to take on, move, action, do something about it, start the new, move forward. It's the breakthrough, the inspiration, but it's upside down. This is not loving yourself. This is inspiring to do the same shit all over again. Get out of your denial. This is not loving yourself, loving the wrong mates. It's supposed to be upright. It's supposed to be moving you forward, getting inspired to do the new, to be the new you, to be, the ascension of everything that's coming in. Stop being in your comfort zone. Stop trusting over what never worked before. Why would it work now? Because that's not the same world we're in. And you aren't the same person you was then. This is all about getting right with yourself and whoever that lover may truly be, of any level, whether it's family, friend, boyfriend, wife, yourself, your guides. Well, it's upside down. This is not right. I mean, coming with this, I don't know how else to put it other than stop. This is about loving yourself, starting anew. Do not go down that same path again and again and again. You already know if you're doing it. Shame on you.
Yeah,
And I'm done.
Using the whole twin flame shit as an excuse for why you should be getting hurt over and over again by Billy Bob down the road is not a good excuse anymore. Like, I get so sick and fucking tired of hearing about twin flames and, oh, my karma, whatever is telling me that I have to keep going and being punished, being most of the time mentally abused, even sometimes physically abused. I mean, come on, bro. Like, what the fuck? So we have 7 of Swords to close us out. 7 of Swords is speaking of greed. When we go to take that leap forward, speaking of just really trying to snatch up everything after a hard fought battle, certain things that we don't deserve, certain things that, we didn't even really initiate, or, we waited until the last minute, came in there and was like, ah, ha, ha, and snatched shit up. Be very careful with that. That's air energy. And, with the air, it can knock you over just as well. And while you're sitting there trying to snatch everything up and lug it around, that'll trip you up. That'll knock you on your ass. And then you got nothing in your arms. It's all scattered into the wind. Also, too, watch for where things that we've been planning. Make sure that those things are well seated. Make sure that we've got enough security so they evolve and progress the way they should. 7 of Swords warns us heavily on being tripped up and maybe even trampling on our own ideas, because we see, oh, shiny over here, and we get that little gnat brain going, and all of a sudden what we just planted here that we need to nurture, well, fuck that, because that looks cool over here. Be very careful. Already sit there and nurture what we need to do. Not so much the fantastical shit. It's about being right here and doing what we need to do.
the shiny and the beautiful, all of that you might want to snatch up, because whether it's your ego or whatever the situation it may be, remember also, if you've been in the spiritual world for any amount of time, things do get attached to stuff.
Mhm.
You can pick up something that's shiny and beautiful and have a big, bad, nasty piece of funk that you're just bringing home with you, too. So maybe think twice before just snatching anything you can find or that's there, because it may need to stay there instead of be with you. And, well, you're choosing to bring it home. The whole point is no more excuses. No more excuses, guys. That goes even for me and everybody else. We all know what we got to face. And if you got excuses, you're making it up to yourself. That's on you. I love you, and we'll see you hopefully next week. We plan on it. Hopefully next week. Say bye, Kelly. I love it. Bye, everybody.